For over 500 years, one book has defeated every cryptographer, linguist, and codebreaker on Earth, and no one even knows who wrote it. In 1912, a rare book dealer named Wilfred Voynich acquired an extraordinary manuscript in a Jesuit college library outside Rome. The moment he opened it, he knew he'd found something impossible. The pages were filled with dense text in an alphabet that didn't match any known language. Beside the words were intricate, hand-drawn illustrations of plants that didn't exist, astronomical charts, and elaborate diagrams that seemed to depict some sort of biological process. No one had any idea what it meant. What made the manuscript even more baffling was its complete lack of attribution. There was no title page, no author's name, no date of composition, no colophon, none of the markers historians rely on to place a document in time. The paper and ink appeared to date from somewhere between the early 1400 and the 1600, but that window spanned centuries of European upheaval, religious transformation, and intellectual ferment. It could have emerged from anywhere, from anyone. Voynich himself became obsessed. He spent years investigating its origins, tracking it backwards through library records and private collections. The trail led him to a 1666 letter from an Italian polymath named Athanasius Kircher, in which Kircher mentioned acquiring a mysterious cipher manuscript. But beyond that, the provenance dissolved into shadow. The manuscript had existed for centuries, passed from hand to hand. Yet no one had ever cracked its code. The illustrations, though, offered tantalizing clues, or so it seemed. There were detailed drawings of medicinal plants, rendered with botanical precision, except none of them matched any plant known to science. There were zodiac wheels, astrological symbols, and what appeared to be bathing scenes with nude female figures immersed in elaborate plumbing systems. The imagery suggested alchemy, herbalism, medicine, astronomy. A text about natural philosophy, perhaps. A grimoire. A medical treatise. But here's where it gets interesting. Everyone assumed the manuscript was written in some sort of cipher, a substitution code, perhaps, or a lost language that could be decrypted with the right key. Brilliant minds devoted themselves to the puzzle. Cryptographers from the Second World War era, including those who'd broken the German Enigma machine, examined it. They found nothing. No patterns emerged. No frequency analysis yielded results. It was as if the text was designed to resist every known method of linguistic analysis. In 2009, a computer scientist named Gordon Rugg proposed a radical theory. What if the manuscript wasn't a code at all? What if it was something far more devious, a hoax? Using a tool called a Cardin grill, a Renaissance-era cipher device, Rugg demonstrated that someone could generate seemingly random text that appeared meaningful but contained no actual content. A linguistic mirage. Brilliant deception. Yet this theory didn't settle the matter. Critics pointed out that the manuscript's structure showed consistency across hundreds of pages, patterns that seemed too coherent to be pure nonsense. The text appeared to follow grammatical rules. Words seemed to repeat in meaningful ways. If it was a hoax, it was an extraordinarily elaborate one, created by someone with knowledge of linguistics, cryptography, and perhaps the intent to deceive or confound. Some researchers have suggested it might be a pharmaceutical guide, written in code to protect trade secrets during a time when alchemy and herbalism were closely guarded, and sometimes dangerous pursuits. Others propose it's an early experiment in artificial language, created by someone attempting to invent a universal tongue before such ideas were even fashionable. A few have even floated the possibility that it's simply a private diary in a personal cipher, never meant for outside eyes. The truth is, we may never know. The manuscript now resides at Yale University's Voynich Rare Book Library, where it's become one of the most studied yet least understood objects in human history. Thousands of pages of analysis have been written about it. Entire conferences have been devoted to its mysteries. Yet it sits there, pages yellowed and fragile, guarding its secrets with the patience of centuries. What's remarkable about the Voynich manuscript isn't just that it remains unsolved. It's what its existence reveals about human curiosity and human limitation. We've decoded ancient hieroglyphics. We've cracked government encryption. We've mapped the human genome. Yet this one object made of paper and ink, created by a human hand, continues to elude us. It's a humbling reminder that for all our intellectual progress, mystery persists. And perhaps that's the real value of the manuscript. In an age of instant answers and algorithmic certainty, It stands as a monument to genuine unknowing, a puzzle that refuses to be solved, a text that insists on remaining silent. It reminds us that history isn't always tidy. Sometimes, the most fascinating stories are the ones that resist closure, that demand our continued wonder and speculation.